Hello, superstar traders. Welcome back to this YouTube channel. Okay, so in this short tutorial video, I simply want to show you how you can use Trendline channel, how you can draw them, how you can use them for more profitable trading setups, and also to have a consistent profit flow in your trading. Okay, so let's quickly start. Now, I know that there is no prior video on what trend line is. So I'm just simply going to define a trend line, show you a few examples, then I'll simply move over to trend line channel. Okay. So now a trend line is simply a diagonal line that is drawn to touch pivot highs or pivot lows. Okay. And that shows the prevailing direction of the price. Okay, let's take for instance, we have first the bullish movement. Okay, so let's say this is a bullish movement, right? Amazing. Now, we say that a trend line is a diagonal line. So when we say diagonal line, um, this is vertical, right? And of course, this is what horizontal, but this is diagonal, right? So this also could be diagonal. Yeah. All right, amazing. So when we say a trend line is a diagonal line, probably I just write out the definition somewhere. Okay. So we're talking about trend line. So a trend line is a diagonal line. Please take note, it must be a diagonal line and it must not be too steep when you're drawing it. Okay. It's a diagonal line that is drawn to that is drawn to touch, right? Okay, let's just put it a very simple way. That is drawn to touch pivot highs and pivot lows. Okay, pivot highs and pivot lows. To show, all right, to show the overall direction of price movement. Okay, to show the overall direction of price movements. Now, amazing. So there are some key things that are here that I would like you to simply look at, okay? And that is a diagonal line. Number one, it must be a diagonal line and it must not be too steep, okay? When I mean it must not be too steep, this is what I mean. It shouldn't be a diagonal line that is drawn this way, all right? Yes, we know this is a diagonal line, but it's almost looking like a vertical line, right? So it must not be too steep. At best, it could be drawn to be an acute angle, right? Maybe to angle 45, or angle 60 is still very okay, or angle 30, between 30 to 60 or 45, it's perfect, okay? So, but then it shouldn't be too steep, right? Now, amazing. The next is it is drawn to touch either pivot highs or pivot lows. That is swing highs or swing lows. Okay, so here we have a swing low, right? Here we have a swing low. Again, oh no, oh yeah, okay. Again, here we have another swing low, and okay. Oh, sorry about that. Oh no. Okay, I think I just have to pick this. Again, here we have another swing low, right? So these are swing lows, and of course, these are swing highs. Okay, so swing highs, and these are swing lows. All right, amazing. Now let's continue. So when we're drawing the trend lines, right, we ensure that it is drawn to touch either swing highs or swing lows. And this basically tells us the overall direction or the prevailing direction of price movement in the market. Okay, now let's take this out. So how do I draw my trend line? Trend lines are simply that diagonal line. So I just pick up my trend line. You can see that here. I'll pick up my trend line tool and I'll try as much as I can to draw the trend line such that it has the line of best fit. Okay, the line of best fit. That is, it is able to probably not touch all the swing highs, all the pivot lows, or all the pivot highs. No, right? So I'll be using these terms interchangeably. Pardon me, swing highs or um, pivot highs, swing lows or pivot lows, right? So I'll just be using them interchangeably. Okay, just understand that I mean the same thing. Yeah. Okay, so it probably may not be able to touch all the swing lows, right? But it should be able to cut across the most obvious swing low, okay? And also the most obvious swing highs, okay? The very obvious swing highs. Okay, so let me give you a perfect example. All right, so take for instance here, we okay. Nope. So let me look for another asset. And whoosh, amazing. All right, so take for instance um in this diagram here, right? If you notice carefully, there are a lot of swing highs, one here, another 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 one here, and then another one here. So if I want to draw my trend lines, I am only going to consider the very obvious swing highs or the very obvious swing lows. In this case, they are swing highs, right? So I'm going to consider all these are swing highs, right? They are pivot highs that I need to consider. But then always understand that a trend line is a line of best fit. So how would I want to draw my trend line? Would I want to draw my trend line such that it's going to go like this? Of course, no. This is not going to be a line of best fit. So it simply means this is already off the radar, right? It's not something we should even consider, right? And of course, am I going to draw my trend line like this? Of course not, right? But then if I'm able to draw my trend line touching only the obvious swing highs or only the obvious swing lows, then it simply means I'll probably be drawing the line of best fit, which is going to fit all, right? So I'm going to consider this, this. I'm not going to consider this because it's not too obvious, right? So I take that out. I'm also not going to consider this. It's a swing high, but not too obvious. This is also a swing high, not too obvious. This is also another swing high, but not too obvious. So apparently, these are the only very obvious ones, and I'm going to consider drawing my trend line, my diagonal line across them. Yeah, amazing. So I believe now you get a concept, right, of trend line. I believe you now get the concept. Okay, so let this come up. So I believe you now get the concept of what I'm actually trying to say about trend lines here. Now, when we talk about trend line channels, okay, when we talk about trend line channels, yeah, it is here. So when we talk about trend line channels, we're simply talking about replicating a trend line such that we can use it to find the very obvious swing lows being touched and considered, and also the very obvious swing highs being touched and considered. So before I go into that, one thing I want to let you know is trend lines are very good tools for us to find buy opportunities or sell opportunities. Take for instance, in this case here, right? Having known that the trend line are touched here first and here again second, the next time it is coming back to this zone, it's very good for me to look out for buy opportunity, right? I'm not just going to jump in for a buy because it came into this trend line. No, I'm actually going to put some other measures which I'll probably show you. Yeah, but then it's very good that I'll be looking out for a buy opportunity after this sell-off. Yeah, so it simply means that apparently around this area, I'll probably be looking for a buy opportunity, and of course have a very minimized risk. and most likely price is going to come back to test this high. And of course, if it's going to be a very strong buy trend, then it's going to break above that high. Now, in this case here, what I've simply done is to reduce my risk because of trend line, yeah, and I've also increased my reward. And of course, as you can see, this is presenting me with a 1:7 risk to reward, right? That's super amazing. Okay, so now if I'm to consider this, it simply means I'll only be looking out for a buy opportunity, right? If I'm to use only trend lines, I'll be looking out for only what? Buy opportunities. Okay, so what happens if prices is to give me a sell opportunity? I'll probably not know. So a trend line channel is replicating, or rather duplicating, one of the trend lines that you've drawn in such a way that price is seen moving in a channel, right? And now what do I mean by a channel? It's very simple. Let's go look at it. So let's assume this is a vertical line, yeah? So I'm only just going to replicate this line, and then I have my channel, right? I have my channel, more like a drainage kind of system here. And of course, the same way we can have channels even in trend lines. So what am I going to do here? So supposing this is my trend line, right? I'm going to just duplicate this trend line here, right? I'm just going to duplicate it such that I can also have my trend line channel. Now, what to consider when duplicating your trend line is that it should also be a line of best, okay? It should also be a line of best fit. So it simply means that you're also going to consider only the very obvious highs, just like I have considered here, okay? Only the very obvious highs, just like I have considered here, okay? So yes, this is a swing high, but not as obvious as this or this, okay? So with trend line channel, you will now be presented both a buy opportunity when they are set and both sell opportunities when they are set. Take for instance, in this case here, I have a sell opportunity coming in, right? So I'll just look out for my confirmation methods. And of course, if I get a confirmation around this zone, then I'm simply going to sell. And of course, I can have a very reduced risk. And of course, I will probably be looking at prices moving all the way back to the trend line, the lower trend line channel, or perhaps if we have a swing low there or something, I'll probably be looking around there. And then I'll be presented with a good risk to reward, maybe 1:3, 1:4, 1:7, 6, as the case could be, right? So this is what we call a trend line channel. Now let's go and have these practical in a live chart. Okay, so can we go practicalize this in a live chart? So I got to see these USD JPY. Let me show you that on the monthly time frame. How most times I look at the market. Yeah. So I was looking at USD JPY, especially last year when USD JPY had a serious bullish movement that was looking almost on ending. A lot of people made some losses, or they were caught in a sell trap, right? They were caught in that bullish movement because they felt like, oh, it was over, right? I also was caught sort of. But how did I know that this was not, the buy was not over? Okay, it was because of trendline channel. So it was very simple. Let me take these off, right? And also let me take all of these off. Okay, now I've cleared out all of this. So when I open my monthly chart, this is, let me also take this off. Yep. So when I open my monthly chart, my monthly chart on USD JPY, this is all I could see. Yeah. So what do? I could notice some swing lows here. I could notice one swing low here, another swing low here, another swing low here. Of course, I could also notice some swing lows around here. I could also notice another swing low. But now remember what I said, only the very obvious swing lows or the very obvious swing highs. So this is apparently just a bullish movement, yeah? So I am going to consider only the very obvious swing lows in this case. And what's your very obvious swing lows? Of course, everyone can say it. Of course, if you look at it and you seem not to understand which is the very obvious swing low, which is the very obvious swing high, you probably be needing to step a time frame higher, or you probably just leave that chart. Okay, so merely looking at this, you and I can say that this is the very obvious swing low here. And of course, again here, I have this zone. So what I'm going to do is to find a way to draw my trend line such that it is going to consider this very obvious swing lows. So I pick up my trend line tool and I place it across this zone. Now, one thing I notice, let me zoom in so you can also see. One thing I notice is there is, if I consider this swing low here, it also considers this point here. So apparently here, I also have considered this zone here. Now let's go. And of course, I'm aiming for this level here, right? I'm aiming for this level here. So this is my trend line that I have drawn. Okay, this is my trend line that I have drawn. Now, is this trend line valid? Yes, if it's not valid, we will probably not have a massive bullish movement to the upside here. Okay, so now for us to be able to draw the trend line channel, remember I said it's a line of best fit. So what am I going to do? I'm going to simply duplicate this trend line here. Okay, so let's do that. I pick that same trend line, right? Now, watch this. This is going to be a bit technical now, right? This is going to be a bit technical, okay? This is going to be a bit technical, but I'll tell you why I place this here. Now, why did I place this trend line here? So watch carefully. Sorry, just give me a second. Oh. All right, amazing. So let me explain. So why I said this is going to be a bit technical. So if you watch closely, the very obvious swing highs that we can see is this one here. We can also notice this one here. And of course, this made a massive rally to the upside before pulling back below, right? So normally we're told if we want to draw trend lines, it is from week to week, right? Week to week is the best. Yeah, I also go with that school of thought, week to week. But apparently, if I'm looking at this, yeah, give me a second. Amazing. So if I'm apparently looking at this and I want to duplicate this same trend line, the line of best fit would have been to consider the last two recent highs, okay? The last two recent highs, which is this point and this point, because this is very obvious that I wouldn't want to leave it behind, right? So I would not want to connect just from this top to this top. So I'm going to consider the very last two obvious highs, which is what? Which is this top here, right? Amazing, and this top, right? But still taking into cognizance that this area should also not be completely violated, which I did not really violate it if I'm to draw this trend line here. Amazing, right? So this is exactly what I've done. And this would have presented me an opportunity to take a sell trade here, okay? This would have presented me an opportunity to take a sell trade here. Just like I currently have another sell opportunity that is playing out on USD JPY. All right, so this is how you can draw your trend lines. You can always draw your trend lines. You can always draw your trend lines across all time frames. But I always advise you scale up to higher time frames, perhaps say the daily time frame or the weekly time frames to draw your trend lines and also find if there are trend line channels. Okay, so I'm going to show you just one more example of trend lines and trend line channels. Then what I'm simply going to do is I am going to show you how I can confirm those trades here. So follow me, please don't go anywhere, just follow me. So this is US 30. Let's use US 30 as an example. And of course, those of you in the community, actually, we traded these US30 together because of simple channel. Yeah. So let's go over to the weekly time frame because we found that, I think, on the weekly time frame. Amazing, super amazing. So this is US30 on the weekly time frame. And of course, what I noticed was a trend line channel, right? How price moved from this top to this top and was falling back below, right? So let me go clear up everything, and we do it together here on this tutorial video so that you can pretty well understand what I look out for, and sometimes how I look at the market. Yeah, amazing. So good, so good, so good. So yes, I was looking at US30, and what I noticed was I would be able to put a trend line here, right? Remember, it's a diagonal line that will be able to touch two or more obvious highs or obvious lows, yeah? So I was able to draw this trend line, and of course, drawing this trend line, I was able to consider this swing high here, and also this swing high here, and this swing high here as well. So I needed to know US30 was falling, yeah. That was last 3 weeks or a month ago, right? US30 was falling massively. I needed to know where this fall is going to stop. Now, probably let's assume you don't know how to use auto blocks or fair value gaps and all that. You just want to simply rely on your trend line. All right. What I simply did was duplicate this trend line, and I'm going to consider the very obvious what? Tops. Sorry, very obvious bottoms, rather. I'm going to consider the very obvious bottoms. And this is what I got. Now, why did I consider duplicating this trend line to touch this zone? All right, let me show you that. If you look carefully, price broke above this zone here, came back to retest. So this particular point here was something significant that we should also have looked at. And then again here, right? So it simply means that if price should fall down to this zone somewhere around here as well, I'll be looking out for a buy opportunity, right? And of course, if sometimes you want to refine these trend line drawings, you can scale to a time frame higher, a time frame lower, right? You can scale to a time frame lower, and of course, you will be able to see all that and how they play out as well, as you can see here, right? As you can see here, right? So let's refine it a bit. Super amazing. You can see that, right? So this would have presented us an opportunity to buy, just like it did, right? It presented us with this big opportunity to buy, and we've been on it, right? We've been on it and cashed out a lot of profit. All right, so I believe now you know how to draw trend lines. The last but not the least I want to tell you is how I get confirmations, because I wouldn't just jump into the market, right? I wouldn't want to just jump into the market whenever I get to trend lines. That prices getting to trend lines is not an 100% guarantee that it's going to respect that trend lines. Yeah, whether it gets to the swing high, it's not a guarantee it's going to sell, or whether it gets to the swing low, it's not a guarantee it's going to buy. So most times what I do is very simple. I simply put out measures to ensure that, look, there is a confirmation around that zone for me to take that buy or for me to take that sell. And how do I do that? If you're new to this channel, I've already made a video on how to use the commodity channel index, right? On how to confirm trades. So I'm simply going to put out that commodity channel index, but I'm not going to show you how to begin to use the commodity channel index. So it's going to be after this video, it's going to pop up on your screen. So you probably go watch that video. Yeah. But then this is how I use the commodity channel index. When the commodity channel index is trading below the negative 100, yeah, we have a bearish dominance. But of course, remember, if I say it's trading back up above the negative 100, just like we have in this case, then we have what? We have the buy confirmation. And apparently, this happened somewhere around here. Amazing, right? Around this candle. So it simply means that by the next candle, I should be going in for a buy, right? My stop loss is going to be pretty well below here. And I'll be looking at least covering to these highs here, which presents me 1:4 risk to reward. All right. If you scale down to a more lower time frame, you'll be able to refine this trade even more and have better risk to reward, right? Even 1:9 or 1:10, as the case would be, right? And of course, this is what we've had in this scenario here. I'll give you one more example, and of course, I'm going to bring this tutorial video to an end, right? So let's consider another pair or another asset, say gold. Yeah. So look at what happened on gold. Yeah. Look at what happened on gold. Can you see a channel? So forget all the other analysis that are here, right? Just focus mainly on the channel. Yeah. Focus mainly on the channel. So gold was shorting. Yeah. And of course, I could notice that, look, there are series of consecutive lows that were forming somewhere around here, somewhere again around here, somewhere again around here, right? So I simply draw my trend lines, right, to touch these obvious bottoms, obvious swing lows that I have seen, right? And then, of course, I was able to duplicate that to get this other one here, right? Now, it's very simple. When prices fell again, to this zone here, I'll simply be looking out for a buy opportunity here, right? And of course, how do I get my confirmation? Using the commodity channel index, right? I'll simply wait for when the commodity channel index trades above the negative 100, yeah? And of course, it did that somewhere around here, traded above the negative 100. And then, of course, I'm presented with that buy opportunity, right? And then, of course, minimize my risk, and I'm riding it all the way to the top. This is presenting me with 1:4. And of course, if you look at that, that's so much money, especially on gold. All right. Again here, right, I was presented with a sell opportunity here. You can see that I was presented with a sell opportunity because price came into the upper part of the trend line channel, right? So I'll be looking out for a sell opportunity here, but obviously I'm not just going to jump in. I'm going to look for confirmations. And of course, if you watch that video, I showed you a second way that I could use to confirm. And of course, that is if price fall below the zero line, okay? So somewhere around here, prices fell below the zero line. So what am I going to do? I'm going to enter the market by the next candle opening, right? And then, of course, minimize my risk. And of course, I'm going to drive this down all the way to this bottom, the next place. And then I'm presented with 1:5 risk to reward, right? So this is exactly how I can use the trend line channel in combination with the commodity channel index to trade and make the best trading decisions. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, leave a comment for me in the comment section. Not only that, please give a thumbs up for this video and also share this video to your friends and family. My name is Tony George. See you again in the next video. Bye for now.